Your study plan for Spanish learning could be perfectly designed and have all of the right elements in place. But if you don't have the right mindset for language learning, you're not going to be successful long term. In today's video, I'd like to discuss the 3 top mindset elements that you need to have to learn Spanish to fluency. Comencemos, amigos. Hola mis queridos líderes del lenguaje, bienvenidos a otro video. O si es la primera vez que tú y yo nos estamos conociendo, te doy la bienvenida. Yo me llamo Erika. Aquí te ayudamos a aprender a hablar español con confianza y crear una rutina de aprendizaje irresistible a través de las historias y las conversaciones auténticas. Si eso te parece interesante, pues suscríbete para no perderte de nada. As we go into the new year, we need to understand that mindset is the glue that holds everything together for all of the goals or plans that we may have for ourselves. Fortunately, mindset can be worked on. So I want you to throw away any preconceived notions that you may have about yourself. You know, I am just not patient. I am never consistent. I give up too quickly. Those may be the patterns of behavior that you have demonstrated so far, but it does not mean that you are stuck with them. I'm here to help you. So let's work on that mindset. Number 1, you need to find your why for learning Spanish, okay? Your ultimate why. Now this is going to be very personal to you, and I want to point out that it only has to be important to you. So your why could be something very obvious. For example, that you live in a Spanish-speaking country, you want to be able to communicate, you live in an area with a high population of Spanish speakers, you need Spanish for work, like right now, you have Spanish-speaking family members. Or it could be something less tangible and something that maybe others from the outside can't immediately see. It could be that Spanish is your personal time to finally do something for yourself. After everyone else is taken care of and after you've done all of those other things, Spanish is that time for you to sit down and finally do something that you truly enjoy. And that is priceless. So your why could be any number of reasons, but it needs to be important to you. Why? Why do we need to find our why? Why isn't it enough just to say it would be really cool to learn Spanish? Well, if we're being honest, there are probably a lot of things in life that we would love to be able to do well. Okay, if you ask me, Erica, would you like to be able to play tennis like amazingly well? I would say, of course I would. Why would I say no to that? I really like tennis. I took lessons when I was really young, but truth be told, I have not practiced tennis for about 2 decades. So clearly there is nothing at this present time of my life about tennis that is actively drawing me to it, that is making me follow tennis playing YouTubers or hire a tennis coach or be excited about implementing new techniques. Nothing of that sort. So obviously, although it'd be a really nice to have, it's not something that is on the top priority list for me by any stretch of the imagination right now. But you are watching this video. You are here on my channel where I teach Spanish. So clearly something about Spanish has drawn you to it. So think about this question. Why has Spanish made the priority list for you? And number 2, what is Spanish doing for you, or what does it have the potential to do for you? Okay, so mindset step number 1 is to find our why. So let's put that into action right now. Think about the answer to these 2 questions. Pause the video, write it out here in the comments. Let me know. I'm super curious to know why Spanish is important to you and why you're learning it. And then let's get right back to it. Mindset step number 2 is to please stop having an all or nothing attitude. Know that you can start fresh every single day. Okay, once your why is set, then you can proceed to choose your next speaking goal. Then you can proceed to determine what your routine is going to be to get you to there. And ultimately, this becomes your plan. We've talked about this in other videos. We'll surely talk about it more in the future. But bottom line is that you need a plan. And let's say you have your plan here. Naturally, your plan is going to include some sort of daily contact with the language. But what if you miss a day? What if you just do really, really poorly on a certain day? What if you miss a few days in a row? Don't let your bad day or bad days determine your future. Don't throw in the towel and decide to do nothing because you didn't do what you had planned to do. I personally am so bad about this in so many aspects of my life, which is why I have my own coaches. If this is something that you really want and you fall off the wagon, you don't have to wait until Monday to start again. If you have a few bad days, you don't have to wait until the beginning of the month to start again. You certainly don't have to wait until the beginning of the year, although happens to be, that's right around the corner. So I'll let that one pass just this time. But in general, do not wait until what seems like it would be a good opportunity for a fresh start to start, because every day is in reality your fresh start. Life is going to happen. If you have this all or nothing attitude, you're going to end up letting too much time pass after what you consider a fail before you start again, and you're going to end up having more off days than on days. And that is not the way to learn the language well in any reasonable amount of time. Every day you can start again. Okay, let's take that mentality to action. How do you do that? Start each day with a healthy language habit, okay? This is the way to literally start afresh every day and not just mentally. What is that thing on your plan that you can do every day in the morning? Find that thing, choose that thing, and then make it a habit. It needs to be easy, and it needs to be something that only takes a few minutes. One of my favorite activities that can easily be turned into a habit is reading out loud, or reading out loud while listening. This could be 5 minutes, but think about it. If you're reading Spanish out loud while you're listening to the audio, what are we working on? We're hitting listening, reading, vocabulary acquisition, pronunciation, speaking, because you're speaking out loud. So many things in one, and you can do that all in 5 minutes. That is a wonderful morning habit to develop. A lot of the clients that I work with like to do that at night. That's perfectly fine, but I even want you to choose something that you can do in the morning, because you have to get into the mindset that every day is a fresh start, and you're going to feel so motivated that first thing in the morning you are able to accomplish something leading up to your ultimate goal. When you get started on the right foot, you're much more likely to include other elements of your plan throughout the rest of your day, and that's your ultimate goal, is consistency with your plan, because your plan was designed to help you speak about the topics that you want to speak about. I'm actually going to recommend one micro habit for every aspect of your life that has made that priority list, but that you have tended to neglect in the past. Okay, let's say that one of your goals is to get healthier, and part of that getting healthier is drinking enough water per day. That is so important. And many health experts, I'm not one of them, but many health experts recommend drinking a lot of water first thing in the morning. Couple of glasses of water first thing in the morning. That's pretty easy to do. So establish one micro habit for everything that has made that top priority list that you tend to neglect, and then you can habit stack, okay? Let's say that you get up, you drink that water. Another thing that has made your priority list is to work on your mental health as well, to your gratitude, your appreciation. And so the micro habit that you establish for yourself in the morning is to write in your journal one thing that you are grateful for that day. So let's start to think. I mean, maybe you get up, you drink that water in the same place every day. It's where you actually have your journal there. So you write that thing, and then right after that, you go to your Spanish materials, you listen to something that's inspirational, because you're starting your day, you're just really excited to get going. So you're listening to something that gets you pumped up for the day, you're reading along. So you just accomplish boom, 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 3 things, 3 totally separate areas of your life. You've brought them together into a really nice morning routine that's coming along, and it's taken maybe 7 minutes, I don't know. And then after you do that journaling, right there you also have your reading material. You have your headphones to listen to Spanish and read along. Don't choose this moment in the morning to select your materials. That's just too much brain effort. Honestly, we're trying to make these habits as easy as possible. Do that before, have that ready to go, so that all you have to do is do it. And I know we've gone beyond language here and we're talking about other habits, but we really have to, because if language learning does not fit naturally into the rest of your life, then it's just not going to work out. Okay, it has to become a part of our life. It's not this like extra thing that we're doing on the side. So we have to start to view it that way. I didn't really count that as one of the mental shifts that I was planning on talking about in this video, but if you want to count it separately, go for it. So bonus tip, language learning is a part of your life. It is not a separate aspect of it. Okay, number 3, this is a mindset shift because it's not something that many of us are used to doing. Track your conversational progress, not just the parts of the whole. When I say your progress, track your progress, I'm not referring to your Duolingo streak. I'm not referring to how many new words your app tells you that you've learned. I'm not talking about your score on a multiple choice grammar test. None of that. All of those things are just parts of the whole. Let's illustrate this with an example. Let's take weight loss, okay? If your goal is to lose weight, then what is the metric that you are probably most interested in tracking? What number is most important to you? Probably your weight, right? Probably literally what the scale says. Probably the most important thing that you're gonna wanna track. Now, there are a lot of other things that you may be tracking as well as part of the whole. You could be tracking your macros or your portion sizes, or how long you're exercising, how many times per day. All of those elements are crucial, because if not, well, we're not gonna have that ultimate goal of weight loss, right? But that doesn't mean that you're not tracking your weight. When your weight moves in the right direction, in this case lower, when it's moving in the right direction, that is an indication that all of those other little things that you're tracking on a day-to-day basis are being effective. They're working, and they're the things that you should probably continue doing, at least for a time. And when you see the scale moving in the right direction, that is very motivational, of course, to follow the daily plan even more. So if you're interested in learning Spanish for the purpose of effective communication, why are you only tracking how good you're getting with the conjugations, how many words you know? These are important. You, in fact, really do need to conjugate verbs in different tenses to speak accurately. You, in fact, really do need a lot of words in order to communicate, but they're only parts of the whole. Why not try tracking your actual conversational skills? There are 3 ways that come to mind for me to be able to do this. The first is a conversation that you couldn't have before that you can now. So let's say that in the past you could not introduce yourself, saying who you are and where you're from and where you live now and why, what you do for work, what your hobbies are, just kind of these things that you talk about when you meet someone new and you're kind of developing a new relationship with a person. Maybe you couldn't do that before, and now you can. Even if it's a basic type of conversation that you can have, and you're starting to understand, and you're starting to be able to ask those same questions and understand the responses of the person that you're speaking to. Okay, that's huge. That is progress, because you couldn't do it before, and now you can. Another way to track your conversational progress is a conversation that you can now have with more accuracy. So maybe you could already do your self-introduction with all of the elements that we mentioned, but it was really choppy and just not accurate. Maybe you just tended to stay in present tense, even when you were talking about the past elements, like where you used to live or what you used to do, things like that. Maybe the past tenses were just kind of all over the place. You weren't using them accurately, and now you can. You can have that conversation. You can introduce yourself with a lot more accuracy. That is progress as well. And then a third way to measure your conversational progress is, can you have this conversation with more precision, or just with more words? Like it's just longer now because you have more vocabulary. You can even say more, add more detail to what you wanted to say. So when your conversation gets more precise, often it's because you have more words. You can select the right ones instead of kind of going in a circle because you don't know what word to say. And then also kind of on the flip side, but in a similar way, more vocabulary gives you that ability to have longer conversations that are meaningful, that are substantial, because you're simply able to add more details. Now, measuring your conversational progress in this way, I'll be honest with you, it's not the easiest metric for you to track, especially on your own. That's why schools don't do it this way. Schools prefer to measure your grammar knowledge, measure how many words you can recognize and recall, because that's really easy. That's really easy to track, and it's really easy for them to be able to give you a grade, right? You can take an exam easily and be able to show off your vocabulary knowledge and your grammar knowledge, okay? But does acing that test mean that you can have a conversation? Very likely not. Now, just like your weight can fluctuate every day, you may weigh yourself one day and you've gone up quite a bit from the day before. That could be for so many reasons. Maybe you've had something salty, you're holding on to some water. That doesn't mean that you need to just eliminate everything that you're doing because it's not working. You have to see over time, right? Over time, what is your progress? So your conversational progress, even though it's not easy to measure, it does become simpler as you look over time, over a month, over 3 months, over 6 months. What conversations can you have, and how do you feel? What's the confidence level that you have now compared to what you did before? Not all of the measures of conversational progress will be tangible. A lot will have to do with how you feel, which is just as important, because as you're speaking, confidence increases, you're gonna speak more. As you speak more, you're gonna learn more, then you're gonna speak more, then your speaking confidence is going to increase even more, and it's just this cycle. So how you feel is also a very important measure of progress. Now, measuring in this way is not the easiest thing to do. It's not as easy as testing your grammar knowledge, your vocabulary knowledge, and especially not easy to do on your own. So, in order to take this mindset shift into action, one option is to let us help you. These conversational metrics are the main ones that my team and I are measuring and looking for and laying out for you when you work with us one-on-one in my Elevate Spanish Accelerator 3-month program. Not only are we helping you speak about these topics that you want to speak about, but also I must say that this intangible metric of speaking confidence is probably one of the most frequent wins that our clients report. And I love that so much. If you'd like for my team and I to help you jumpstart this new year with your Spanish learning, head on over to ericareallylanguage.com/apply to see if you may qualify for a completely free strategy call in which we're going to discuss your goals and your struggles and everything in between, and let you know if Elevate sounds like it would be a good fit for you, or at least help you walk away with clarity about what your next step should be. Again, you can go to ericareallylanguage.com/apply to take that next step with us. That's all for today, language leaders. Don't forget to go out and live a new experience with your new language today. Have a great year. Hasta la próxima.